Hey there and welcome back. I've changed the scenery just a little bit. We're outside in Chateau Earley enjoying this gorgeous day. Have you ever heard the phrase, honesty is the best policy? Growing up, that was my mother's mantra for my brother and I. Honesty is the only policy. Your word is your bond because all a man has is his word, and actions speak louder than words. It doesn't even really matter what you say, it matters what you do. Next, we'll be talking about leadership. Is honesty the only policy? My name is Jennifer Mitchell Earley, and I help individuals and teams achieve organizational success. Welcome to Leadership Matters. Growing up, my mother's mantra was, honesty is the only policy. My brother and I heard that over and over and over again, along with, your word is your bond because all a man has is his word, and actions speak louder than words. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what you say, it matters what you do. Okay, so here's a little background on me. Growing up, my father, I think I've already told you in one of my videos, was a 25-year veteran councilman in the city in which I was raised. My mother was a 36-year veteran teacher. At one point, she was my 6th grade teacher. Yeah, it was interesting to say the least to be raised in a household with parents who were very well known in the community and out on the front lines, both in our elected government and in our school district. One of the things that my mother instilled in my brother and I early on was honesty. My mother was a strong proponent in always telling her the truth, especially because she was a teacher in the district, and because like any other kid, there were going to be times as we went through K through 12 where a teacher would have an issue with our behavior and need to call home. So this was my mother's thing. My mother's thing for us was always tell me the truth. And to incentivize us to do so, this was the bargain that she struck with us. If you tell the truth, you have a 50-50 chance of being absolved of your quote-unquote crime. I may hear why you did it, your reasoning behind it, and I may support you and find that it is not punishment worthy after all. It can be just a conversation and where I think the situation could have been handled differently, and we'll move on from there. However, if you lie, you will 100% of the time be punished. Point blank, end of story. Well, I have to say, that was a heck of an incentive to always tell the truth, because my mother was a person who was a woman of her word. So if she told you that 50-50, you may not get punished if she could see your reasoning and understand where you came from and thought that it wasn't punishment worthy, that she would give you a break. And true to her word, she did that. There were times where you'd explain it to her and she would understand, and she would say, it could have been handled differently, and this is how it could be handled, where you had a discussion. My mother was big on explaining everything, much to my dad's I won't say disappointment, but much to my dad's chagrin, because he was raised with, because I said so. You're going to do it because I said so. I don't give kids explanations. Where my mother, because she was an educator, it was very important for her to always explain to you why you were in the situation you were in, what steps she was going to take next. She always set expectations, and that could be why, along with being a learning and development consultant, why I am so adamant about always setting expectations. We'll talk about that later on. So I don't know if my mother planned it this way. I mean, if she actually thought it through, like if I gave them the 50-50 option, if my kids therefore would always choose the truth because they would know that would be the best option. I mean, kids' reasoning skills are not fully developed until much later in life. Any psychology class will tell you that. However, it worked. My brother and I always defaulted to the truth. I could have cut class and walked in the door. This is a true story. I came in and I think I had senioritis, but I mean, to be honest, I probably had been pulling these types of hoodlywinks before then. But I came in the door and my mother was home, and I had my prom dress in my hand, which also doubled as my cotillion dress. And so I wanted to get some alterations done to it. And she said, "What you do today?" And I was like, I went to take my dress to see if I can get some alterations. She was like, yeah, I mean, like during school, were you at school? And I was like, No, I cut school because I wanted to get alterations to my dress. Needless to say, that didn't go over well, but it just reinforces the fact that for my brother and I can just go ahead from here on out and speak for me, it just was never worth it to lie. Number one, I had to remember the lie. Two, I had to back up the lie. And three, the truth always has a way of coming out. So because I knew I was raised under the always tell me the truth, things can work in your favor if you do, I opted to always tell the truth. Now, things didn't always work in my favor. I will say this, though. I do believe that my punishments were less severe because I was truthful, that if I really would have really pulled my mother's card and just flat out lied to her face. I just had respect for my mother. I believe that she was fair. I believe that I felt growing up, I felt heard. Even if she didn't agree with me, I felt like my thoughts were valuable. And that is something that as a mother, I mean, there's a lot of things you say that you're not going to do when you grow up and have your own kids based on what your parents did to you and how you felt about it then. But that is one thing that I took away with my daughter, who is a senior in high school, was tell me the truth, because that's the only way I can defend you. I don't ever want to go up to the school or be put in a situation where you make me look like a fool because you didn't tell me the truth. In order for me to be able to understand what you were thinking and what led to your choices and how to, maybe correct your path, I have to know those things. And that was something I always said with my daughter, always tell me the truth. And I'm going to tell you, and I typically would tell her up front, I don't agree with that. And let me tell you why I don't agree with that. X, Y, and Z. But I'm still going to go and support you. But I want you to know that when it comes up in the conversation, I'm going to say that I didn't support that decision. I wanted my daughter to do things differently. And then we'll go from there. But if I do support you, I will say that as well. And that's always been something that worked well with my daughter and I. For that reason, I believe that she is truthful with me. Now, she's a teenager. I was a teenager. To tell my mother every nook and cranny of what was going on all the time? Of course not. And neither did you if we would be truthful. And neither does my daughter. But the fact of the matter is honesty is the best policy. And for leaders, I will submit, and you can feel free to agree or disagree in the comments, that it is the only policy. And we'll talk about why. So why is honesty the only policy, you might ask, for leaders? And I'm talking to all leaders, but I'm sitting in my role as an elected official right now when I say some of these things. So for my peers and my cohorts in elected office, have a special ear to this, because I'm speaking from that frame of reference in particular right now. Honesty is a leader's most valued quality, most valued leadership quality, because it's a gateway for trust and influence. Leadership, a leader is not denoted solely by title. We all know leaders who have the title who nobody follows, right? If we were honest. Or leaders who have the title that we're like, what? Okay, whatever. But there are leaders who don't have the title, who when they look around, folks are following them, because they have demonstrated those qualities that make them an emergent leader in situations like this. The country right now has no real leadership. I said it. Some of you will agree with me. A lot of you will agree with me, and some of you will not. The fact of the matter is, we're looking for leadership in different places because we have no national leadership as it relates to these social justice issues and racial inequality in our country. So you will see different people emerge, or people who have had that leadership role for years. Reverend Al Sharpton and others who we're looking to. You'll see hip hop artists who have a platform not beyond them being an artist. You'll see athletes like LeBron James, beyond him being an athlete, who has a platform and who people look to get some guidance as to which way they should go. Honesty is leaders' most valued characteristic because it is a bridge for trust and influence. If people can't trust you, they won't follow you, and you will not be able to influence them. Its power comes through your ability to influence them, and not that you manipulate that influence or that ability to influence, but just the fact that what you say and what you do has weight because people have been watching you. So you all are going to probably hear Bailey every now and again. She is protesting. Bailey is my puppy. She is protesting being outside by herself and me being over here. So we're going to keep on rolling anyway. Okay, so let's talk about the dangers of dishonesty. One, the truth always comes out. Everything done in the dark will come to light, and eventually you will get caught with your hand in the cookie jar. That's just the way that life works. Eventually, it will come out, X, Y, and Z happen, and you tried to cover for it. And when that happens, you will definitely lose trust, you will lose respect, and you will lose your influence. Secondly, lies erode trust. Once someone catches you in a lie, not a mistake, not a misnomer, not that you misspoke, but a blatant, flat out lie, your motives and your intentions will forever be questioned because the trust has been eroded. Let me just say this as an elected official. There have been so many times, and we know, the connotation about politicians. And as a politician, I feel the same way a lot of times. But I do know that there are people who, that I work with in particular, whose motivation is only to move our municipality forward, who live in our community, have a vested interest in our community, and want to see our community remain, the wonderful place that it is, community focused, community oriented, where you know one another, where you have a country feel in a city environment, and they work their butts off to do what we do. This position, like many positions, is the second elected office that I've held as a council person. It's part-time. So we have full-time jobs, but it takes a full-time commitment to make sure that you provide financial oversight and legislative oversight to a municipality. So you have to do your homework, you have to know what you're voting on, and we'll get into all those things in another video. I have worked with people, however, in this capacity who have been caught with their hands in a cookie jar, have been caught in a flat out blatant lie, and when caught, instead of owning up to it and being accountable and responsible, like we talked about in the other videos about leadership qualities, have maintained that they are innocent, even though you have supporting documentation that says otherwise, and other individuals who have seen and or heard the the indiscretion, we'll put it that way. And that erodes trust. And because of that, everything now is questioned. Everything is viewed under a magnifying glass. Everything requires a double take and confirmation and support from outside sources to believe its validity. Thirdly, there is such a thing as a lie by omission. My mother, another big thing she was huge on. If you don't tell me, you still lied to me, is what she would say, because you knew it and you purposely held back the facts. Lie by omission. USlegal.com defined the legal definition of lie by omission as an intentional failure to tell the truth in a situation requiring disclosure. lie by omission. So in other words, withholding pertinent details to skew someone else's perception of the truth or to encourage the misconception. Lie by omission. So some of us like to operate in the, oh, I didn't lie, I just didn't say anything. But you did. That's a lie. And that also erodes trust, because what happens is, remember, everything comes to the light. That's going to come to the light that you knew and you didn't disclose the information, especially in my role. And then you want to know why you can't get support and or votes or anything like that. It's because you lied by omission. Lastly, having secrets or being ambiguous or vague or dangling carrots, that doesn't work either. Instead of you looking like the keeper of those sacred things and someone who is trustworthy and able to, hold confidences, it produces the opposite perception, in that you're playing games, you're talking riddles, and no one's going to have time or the interest to try to decipher the code. And therefore, people stop listening to you because it's just one riddle after another. Those are the dangers of not being honest, especially as a leader. So here are a couple of tips I'm going to leave you with. And again, feel free to add yours to the comments, because I'm not the keeper of all information, and together we can do better. My tips are: answer questions directly and honestly. And if you cannot answer the question, I know I have been put in situations as an elected official and otherwise where I just am not in the position to disclose it. It's not my information to disclose, or I don't have the authority to disclose it. And what I say is, I don't have the authority to give you that information at this time. And I will direct them to who has information if that is relevant, and or if not, I will just leave it there. I'm sorry, I can't answer that question. I understand, your concern. I am just not in the position where I have, full and accurate details that I can share with you at this time. If you don't know, say so. Just simply say, I don't know. There is not weakness in not knowing, just like there is no failure or weakness in making a mistake. What people respect is if you can own up to it. I will tell you in a heartbeat if I don't know anything. I have no idea, but I'll get that information for you. I'll look into that. And to follow up with that is to literally follow up. Is to, if you say I'll look into it, to literally look into it. Remember, actions speak louder than words. So if you don't know it, say it, but endeavor to find the information. My third tip is keep the lines of communication open, and those individuals who need to be in the loop, keep them looped in. As council president, this is my 4th term as council president. Anyone in my municipality or who has dealt with me knows I do not have one-off solo meetings. Never have, never will, and here's why. I am the leadership for council. I do not do things autonomously in the name of council. I provide leadership to council and provide direction in my role as leader. I don't make one-off decisions in the name of council ever. I am one voice of 7. So if you bring something to me and you think that I'm going to make a decision without consulting the 6 other individuals on my council body, you are mistaken. And in politics, there are so many times where decisions are made by a few, or when there are meetings behind closed doors, or you meet with one-offs, that has almost become the norm. That is not for me. If I meet with you, 2011, when I would meet, my council clerk would meet with me. Any meeting I had, she would come, and I would explain that her role there was to take copious notes to make sure that when I went back to council to explain to them the purpose of the meeting and the ask for council, that she could clarify anything that I could potentially get wrong or fill in any gaps, that there was always someone else there who could account for my responses on behalf of council. Going forward in the last 3 years, anything you say to me, you need to say in front of the entire council body. That way, everybody's getting the information all at one time. And if we need to meet and I need to supply council with additional information to help them make, an educated decision as it relates to their votes, I have no problem doing that. But I absolutely do not meet one off. And you know what that has bred within the council is they trust me. My word is my bond. They trust when I say things. They trust and they can believe that what I do, I'm doing with the best intentions for both the council and our municipality. So this leads me to my next and final tip, which is in public sector especially, you do not own information. It is not proprietary to you. It is the public's information, like it's the public's dollars, and it's at the public's interest. And any elected official who does not agree with that, I'm going to direct you to the federal and state sunshine laws. And I'm going to suggest that you read up on them and become familiar with that, because especially in public sector where we're dealing with public dollars, there's nothing that is secret. Now, I understand with development and all of that, there are some conversations that you don't have. Again, you may not have all the answers to, and therefore you can't disclose it until the deal is done, signed, sealed, and delivered. That's one thing. And then you just say that. But it's something completely different to act like the information that you have is proprietary when you're dealing with public information. So please know you do not own public information. That information belongs to the people. So those are my tips. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please share this information if you think it's pertinent and other people will benefit from it. And also subscribe. So every time I upload a new video, you'll be the first to know.